Hello everyone. So today we are going to see what is binomial option pricing model. What is binomial option pricing model? The binomial option pricing model is an option valuation method developed in 1979. The binomial option pricing model uses an iterative procedure allowing for specification of nodes or points in time during the time span between valuation date and the option's expiration date. A simplified example might of the binomial option pricing might look something like this. So stock price of today is rupees 50. On T1 day, it can either go up and become rupees 52 or go down and become rupees 48. Further, the prices will go up. For rupees 52, it will become rupees 54.08 on T2 time period, or go down and become rupees 49.66, and so on. Now, what are the basics of binomial option pricing model? With binomial option price models, the assumptions are that there are two possible outcomes, hence the binomial part of the model. With the pricing model, the two outcomes are a move up or a move down. The major advantage to a binomial option pricing model is that they are mathematically simple. Yet, these models can become complex in a multi-period model. The advantage of this multi-period view is that the user can visualize the change in asset price from period to period and evaluate the option based on decisions made at different points in time. For a US based option, which can be exercised at any time before the expiration date, the binomial model can provide insight as to when exercising the option may be advisable and when it should be held for longer periods. By looking at the binomial tree of values, a trader can determine in advance when a decision on an exercise may occur. If the option has a positive value, there is a possibility of exercise, whereas if the option has a value less than 0, it should be held for longer periods. So to understand this further, let us take an example. Consider you have a call option whose exercise price is rupees 500. Stock price is rupees 550 and expiry is 3 months. So the question is it exercisable? It is exercisable because the X price, that is exercise price, is less than the stock price and it is a call option. So we will get intrinsic value is equal to rupees 50. So that's why it is exercisable. So what we found out is how much can we earn in future. So whatever we can earn in future, we have to take the present value of that. So what we do is we observe the stock price. That is, we observe this stock. So what we observe is it can go on upside to rupees 620 and it can go and downside to rupees 420. And please remember, we are talking about the stock price and not the call price. When the stock price will move, then only you are going to get the value of the call option. So now we further see, if the stock price comes to 620, what will be the payoff? The payoff will be rupees 120. And if the stock price comes to rupees 420, the payoff will be 0, or there will be a lapse of option. So what we can conclude from here, that this option has the power to either earn rupees 120 or 0. So here we get two options, that is, either it can earn rupees 120 or 0. So what should we consider? we have to say that it is supposed to be the expected value or the average value. Now how do we calculate this average value? For that we have to know what is the probability. For example, let us assume that the upside probability to be 0.6 or 6%. So downside will be 0.4. The calculation of the probability will discuss further. So now we can say that the call option's expected payoff will be expected payoff or the summation of probabilities into the value. Okay, so what we do is 120 into the probability plus 0 into 0.4. so here we have explained it here, the upside into the probability of the up plus the downside into the probability of downside. So what we are getting is rupees 72 when after 3 months. Now what we have calculated was only the expected payoff, but the value of the call option should be the present value of the expected payoff. So from what we know is rupees 72 we can earn. This 72 we can earn from the in future from this call option. So what we have to pay today, how we have to calculate is calculate the present value of this benefit. So now what we've got is the present value. Now when you're doing this, compare it with what you used to do before, that is put call parity. In put call parity there was one limitation, that if you want to know the value of the put, then you have to know the value of call, but if you want to know the value of call, you have to know the value of put. So but in BOPM there is no such condition, that we can calculate both call and put independently. BOPM basically is based on a very simple concept, that it is the present value of the benefits that you're going to receive in the future. So today we are going to take how much we have to pay for the benefits we are going to receive in further. This is what is BOPM all about. So what does binomial mean? Binomial means sum of two expressions. Bi means two and nominal means addition. So these two are the two options we have. Either the price goes upside or it goes downside. So we have two options. That means it is bi. And addition because we are doing the sum of two expressions. So it either goes upside or downside. There is no third expression. So what we have to finally do is take the average of the two expression, multiplying it with the probabilities. Now the only thing left for us to see is how do we calculate this probability. So to calculate this probability, we have to know the concept of risk neutral theory, because this probability calculation is based on this assumption of risk neutral theory. So let us know what is this risk neutral theory. It was formulated by Cox and Rocks in 1976. See, in this, the return is always RFR in the world of investment. So even if you invest in any stock or bond, the return you're going to get is always risk-free rate of return in the world of investment. That is why the name is risk neutral theory. This means that the world is risk neutral. And please remember, this is an assumption, so it does not work like this in the real world. So now if this is the case, what will your stock give return as? So your stock today is rupees 550 and the maturity is 3 months. So in 3 months the 550 is going to give returns at risk-free return. So when we calculate 1 plus risk-free return into 3 months divided by 12, the risk-free return we are assuming it to be 6%. So if we calculate this, we are going to get rupees 558.25. Remember, we are doing this using simple periodic method. We can do continuous compounding and other methods also, but for understanding we are doing this right now. So this is the value of this investment which is being expected under risk neutral theory. Now if you remember, in our example we had taken the upside to be 620 and the downside to be 420 of the stock, that is 550. So this value should be the average of these two values, because you can expect only the growth only as risk free return because of the risk neutral theory. So accordingly you can say the value of the option will be the upside, you know, as it is 620, the probability of up is 0.6 and 480 is the downside, and 1 minus p, that is the downside probability, is 0.4. If we calculate this, we are getting 558.25. So when we had calculated, we had assumed this probabilities, but we cannot assume such probability, and we have to calculate the probability by equating this two and then taking the value of this p, and then 1 minus p will find out. So what we are going to do is assume that world is giving risk-free return only. So any investment will give only risk-free return. So today's stock after 3 months will have a value of the amount which is supposed to come from risk-free rate of return, and expected value after 3 months using probability, not this but the after calculation should also come same. So accordingly the stock value should be this value. So solving this equation, the upside was 620, we are taking the p as p, upside p, plus downside was 480, and downside factor we are taking as 1 minus p, which will give value is equal to 558.25. Solving this equation further, so whatever value we get of p, using this p only we have to calculate the value of the call option. So assuming of probability is not allowed. Whatever p we are getting here, by equating these two, should be used as the probability for calculating the option. Now that we have got the probabilities, so accordingly the calculation of your call option will be revised. So expected payoff of the call option is equal to, so as we know the formula, upside into the probability plus downside into the probability of downside. So our upside payoff was 120, if you remember, into the probability newly that we have calculated using the risk neutral concept, that is 0.5589, plus 0 was our payoff in the downside into the downside probability. Now what we want to do is calculate the expected payoff. We want to calculate the value of the option. So what we have to do is we want to take the present value of this value, so divided by 1 plus the risk free rate, that is 0.06 that we are taking, into 3 by 12 as the expiry is 3 months, and then calculate the value. So this is the appropriate price of the call option. So let us understand the formula or the function for this probability calculation. So what we actually did was 620 into P plus 480 1 minus P is equal to the current price of the stock. What was the current price of the stock? It was 550, and what we did was 1 plus RF multiplied by 1 plus RF. So if we rewrite this equation, what we do is 620 divided by this 550 into P plus 480 divided by 550, 1 minus P is equal to, what remains here is 1 plus RF. So let us now call this as something, this as something, and this part as something. So this we call as upside factor, this as downside factor, and this as risk-free factor. So how do we get this upside factor? Is the upside price divided by the current price of the stock, and here downside factor is equal to the downside price divided by current price of the stock. So what I can write is USF into P plus DSF into 1 minus P is equal to RFF. So if we solve this further, it becomes USF into P plus DSF minus DSFP is equal to RFF. So here we take P as common, and USF minus DSF is equal to RFF minus DSF. So here probability of which factor this is? Up factor is equal to RFF minus DSF. This goes down, that is USF minus DSF. So therefore the formula becomes this. And when we want to calculate the probability of down factor, we just have to do 1 minus probability of up factor. So why is this upside factor? Because D we had considered as the upside. So this is the way we find probability. So if we lay down the steps of calculations, so firstly what we have to do is draw the tree, binomial tree, and write the payoff or calculate the payoff, the possible payoff. Second step what we do is find the probabilities of both upside and downside. For that we use the formulas, that is risk-free factor minus downside factor upon upside factor minus downside factor. So the third step is we find the option value, that is the present value of the expected payoff. This present value of expected payoff can be calculated using continuous compounding, then monthly compounding or annual compounding, etc. Or like we did the simple periodic calculation. So similarly when we do 1 minus P using this probability, we are going to get the probability of downside. So upside value we have got is, upside probability we have got is 0.5589, and 1 minus